Welcome back to Rocky Mountain Prepper. I'm Bellum. This time we are in our Strong Foundation series. If you haven't seen any of these, I recommend you go to the Bible playlist I have on my channel and start from the beginning. In this series, I am reading from the Bible. I encourage everybody to read along. If you need to, pause the video and get out your Bible and follow along. When last we were here, Levi and one of his brothers wiped out a town of people because the son of the king of that town raped their sister. I would like to say that I would do the same thing. It may not be right in God's eyes. Definitely in our current legal system, it is not legal. But I would probably do that. Now, because of that, they had to leave the area, and Rachel died in childbirth shortly after they got to Bethlehem, and she was buried there. There's still a tomb there dedicated to Rachel. If you ever go to Israel and or Palestine and you go into Bethlehem, you can see it. It's right there on the outside of the old city. If I ever go, I would definitely pay my respects. Alright, we are in Genesis 36 now. Sorry, throat's a little bit dry. Alright, Genesis 36. Alright, this is more of the so-and-so begot so-and-so, and so-and-so begot so-and-so, who begot so-and-so, who begot so-and-so. So just bear with me. I know these are dry parts, but it shows that God is the God of everyday life. Alright, 36. And this is the genealogy of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan. Adah, daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zivan, the Hittite, or the Hivite, and Basmath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth, and Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, and Basmath bore Reuel, and Oholibamah bore Urish, and Jaresh, and Jalam, and Corin. These were the sons of Esau who were born to him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the beings of his household and his herds and all the beasts and all his possessions which he had gained in the land of Canaan, and went to the land away from the presence of his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too great for them to dwell together, and the land of their sojournings could not support them because of their herds. That just shows that even though Jacob got the blessings, Esau did prosper. God ensured Esau's prosperity, which shows that it's not just about the promise and of the Savior, and it's not just to make the one blessed into a great nation. It's all of Abraham's descendants end up quite well off. They ended up all rather great. Even the son that Abraham had through his wife's servant was still blessed to be the leader of 12 tribes over in Persia, or what is now Iran. So that's actually comforting. God takes care of his people. And those of you who are Christian are grafted in. So he will take care of you in his own timing. Alright, so Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And this is the genealogy of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. Some translations I actually have seen call it the hill country of Seir. And either work, it's minor translations. These were the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, son of Adah, wife of Esau, and Reuel, son of Basmath, wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gatman, and Kenaz. And Teman was the concubine of Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore Amalek to Eliphaz. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Reuel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Basmath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Tishban, and she bore to Esau Jush and Jalam and Korah. These names are not the easiest to pronounce. I apologize. These were the chiefs of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, were Chief Teman, Chief Omar, Chief Zeppo, and Chief Kenaz. Chief Korah, Chief Gottman, Chief Amalek. These were the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom, Edom. They were the sons of Ada, and these were the sons of Reuel, Esau's son, Chief Nahath, Chief Zepha, Chief Shammah, and Chief Mitzah. These were the chiefs of Reuel in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife, Chief Jeush, Chief Jalam, Chief Korah. These were the chiefs descending from Oholibamah, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Esau who is Edom, and these were their chiefs. These were the sons of Shear, the Horite, who inhabited the land, Lothan and Shabal, and Tisban, and Anah, and Dishon, and Ezar, and Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, the sons of Shear in the land of Edom. And the sons of Lothtan were Horai and Hemam. Lothan's sister was Timan. And these were the sons of Shobal, Alvan, and Mathpath, and Ibel, Shepho, and Oman, or Onman. I do not like how these names go. These were the sons of Ziban, and both Aya and Anna. This was the Anna who found water in the wilderness as he fed the donkeys of his father Ziban. There's obviously some story behind that comment. Apparently, at the time, it actually was a big deal, but the story wasn't really passed down very far, apparently. I wish I knew that story. I'd actually tell you about it if I knew it. And these were the children of Anna, Dishon, and Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Dishon, Hedman, and Eshban, and Ithran, and Charan. These were the sons of Ezar, Bilan, and Zazavan, and Akan. These were the sons of Dishan, Uz, and Aran. These were the chiefs of the Horites: Chief Lothan, Chief Shobel, Chief Zibeon, and Chief Anha. Chief Dishon, Chief Ezar, and Chief Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, according to their chiefs in the land of Sheor. And these were the sovereigns who reigned in the land of Edom, before any sovereign reigned over the children of Israel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhab. And Bela died, and Joab, son of Zaar of Basra, reigned in his place. And Joab died, and Hudzan of the land of the Temerites reigned in his place. And Hudzan died, and Hadad, son of Balad, who struck Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place, and the name of his city was Avith. That who struck Midian in the field of Moab. I would love to know that story too, but I don't think those stories still exist. I'm still looking through other extra biblical sources to find out those stories, but so far I haven't been able to find them. Maybe some obscure apocrypha has them. I don't know. Okay. And Hadad died, and Shala of Mesca reigned in his place, and Shala died, and Jeul of Reboth by the river reigned in his place. And Jeul died, and Baal Hanan, son of Akbor, reigned in his place. And Baal-Hanan, son of Akbar, died, and Hadar reigned in his place, and the name of the city was Piu, or Pea, I guess. And his wife's name was Methbael, I believe that's how you pronounce it, the daughter of Metarad, with the daughter of Mahazab. And these were the names of the chiefs, almost done with this, of Esau according to their clans and their places by their names: Chief Temena, Chief Abba, Chief Jareth, Chief Oholibama, Obimala, Chief Ella, Chief Peon, Chief Kenez, Chief Temen, Chief Midzar, Chief Migdal, Chief Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom according to their dwelling places in the land of their possession. Esau was the father of the Edomites. Now that we got through that, Genesis 37. And Jacob dwelled in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. This is the genealogy of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flocks with his brothers, and the young man was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought an evil report to his father. He was a tattletale. Although, that's not actually a bad thing. You should, when someone does something wrong against someone, you should inform them. And Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a long robe. Some of the translations have it a colorful robe. That's where you get Joseph and the coat of many colors. It's something to make him stand out from his brothers, basically. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and were not able to speak peaceably to him. Basically, that's just saying they could not get along anymore. I understand, and parents oftentimes do pick favorites. I know it's not right, but it happens. And the other siblings tend to resent that. I know. And Joseph dreamed a dream and told it to his brothers, so they hated him even more. And he said to them, "Please listen to this dream which I have dreamed. See, we were bundling sheaves in the midst of the field, and see, my sheaf rose up and stood up. And see, your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you indeed rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed still another dream, and related it to his brothers, and said, "See, I have dreamed another dream. And see, the sun and the moon and 11 stars bowed down to me." And he related it to his father and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I, and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?" And his brothers envied him. But his father guarded the word. And his brothers went to feed their father's flocks in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, "Are not your brothers feeding the flocks in Shechem? Come, I send you to them." So he said to him, "Here am I." And he said to him, "Please go and see if it is well with your brothers and well with the sheep, and bring back word to me." So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and see, he was wandering in the field, and the man asked him, saying, What do you seek?" He said to him, "I'm seeking my brothers. Please inform me where they are feeding their sheep." And the man said, "They have left here. For I heard them say, 'Let us go towards Dothan.'" So Joseph went after his brothers and found them in Dothan. And he saw him from a distance. And they saw him from a distance. And before he came near, they plotted against him to kill him. And they said to each other, "See, this master of dreams is coming. And now, then, let it, now then, come, and let us now kill him, and throw him into some pit, and shall say, some wild beast has devoured him. And let us then see what comes of his dreams." But Reuben heard and rescued him from their hands, and said, "Let us not strike his being." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood, throw him into this pit, which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, in order to rescue him out of their hands and bring them back to his father." Some translations say the pit was a cistern or a dry well. Either way, it's still not the best thing to do to your brother, even if you hate him. So it came to be, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they stripped Joseph's robe, the long robe which was on him, and they took him and threw him into a pit. And the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal. And they lifted their eyes and looked, and saw a company of Ishmaelites coming from Galaad with their camels, bearing spices, balm, and myrrh, going to take them down to Mitzrayim, Egypt. And Judah said to his brothers, "What would we gain if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hands be upon him, for he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers listened. And the men, Mitzrayite traders, passed by, so they pulled Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they took Joseph to Mitzrayim. And Reuben returned to the pit, and see, Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his garments. And he turned to his brothers and said, "The boy is gone, and where am I to go?" So they took Joseph's robe, slew a male goat, and dipped the robe in the blood, and sent the long robe, and brought it to their father, and said, "We have found this. Please look, is it the robe of your son or not?" And he recognized it, and said, "It is my son's robe. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is torn to pieces." And Jacob tore his garments, and put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, "Now let me go down to Sheol to my son in mourning." So his father wept for him. I personally understand what he is going through. I did lose a child. It is not the easiest thing for a father to bury his child. A mother as well. But I know for a fact that it is hard on a father. But that's a story for another day. Let's continue. And the Mitzrayites had sold him in Mitzrayim to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard. Alright, Genesis 38. And at that time it came to be that Judah left his brothers and turned aside to a man and a Dulamite whose name was Jair, and Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shuvah, and he took her and went into her. So she conceived and bore a son, and called him And she conceived again and bore a son, and she called him Alman. And she conceived yet again and bore a son, and called him Shelah. And he was at Kezab when she bore him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh took his life. And Judah said to Alman, "Go in to your brother's wife and marry her, and rise up an heir to your brother." And Alman knew that the offspring would not be his, and it came to be, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. Basically, when he finished with her, instead of releasing inside of her to get her pregnant, he pulled out and put it and dumped it on the ground. He used her for sex, and that was the sin that he had committed. But what he did displeased Yahweh, so he took his life too. Then Judah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah is grown." For he said, lest he also die as his brothers did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Back then, if a woman didn't have a child when her husband died, she had no means of securing herself. She couldn't really make money. Yes, occasionally they would have the women would become prostitutes, but really they could not have any kind of a good life out of it. So it made it harder, and that's why you have the tradition of when one of your children dies, you give another child to that person, particularly to a woman who can have another son, who can have children to inherit off of your child. I'm glad that we don't have to do that anymore. And after a long time, the daughter of Sheva, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up to his sheep shearers at Timnath. He and his friend Hera the Adullamite. Basically, Judah's going to do his work, and Tamar hears about it. So, and it was reported to Tamar, saying, "See, your father-in-law is going up to Timnath to shear his sheep." And she took off her widow's garments, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat at the entrance to NLM, which was on the way to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. And Judah saw her, and reckoned her for a whore, for she had covered her face. And he turned aside to her by the way, and said, "Please let me come into you." For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What do you give me to come into me?" And he said, "Let me send you a young goat from the flock." And she said, "Do you give me a pledge until you send it?" So he said, "What pledge should I give you?" And she said, "Your seal, and your cord, and your staff that is in your hand." And he gave them to her, and went into her, and she conceived by him. Basically, she wanted his by seal. Sometimes it's a signet, considered signet ring, or basically it's so that people know who sent a message. You'd stamp it in wax, and it would show that is from you, and it also shows that it hasn't been opened. The cord, that would be probably his belt, or maybe even the cord that attaches to the seal. And his staff, it's something that's always with him. He knows his staff like the back of his hand. And she arose and went away, and removed her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend the Adullamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he did not find her. And he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where is the cult prostitute who was beside the way to Eliam?" And they said, "There was no cult prostitute in this place." And he returned to Judah and said, "I have not found her." And the men of the place said there was no cult prostitute in this place. And Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, lest we become despised, for I sent this young goat, and you have not found her." And it came to be, about 3 new moons after that, Judah was informed, saying, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has whored, and see, she has conceived by whoring." And Judah said, "Bring her out, and let her be burned." In Cana, that was the punishment for infidelity. She's promised to Judah's family, so he had to. So she had to keep herself pure, or at least not messing around with other guys. And they were not that, how can I say, pleasant with people in Canaan. The Canaanites were not that pleasant with women who slept around. I know it's a bad double standard, but oh well. I mean, it was ancient times. Women were expected to stick with one guy, and they could basically they did that because there were no paternity tests, no way to guarantee paternity unless she only slept with the one man. I don't like that they had to do it that way. Honestly, in my opinion, both the men and the women should be keeping it in their pants unless they're in the marriage bed. But that's my opinion. Be burned. Okay. When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant." And she said, "Please examine those whose these are, the seal and the cord and the staff." And Judah examined and said, "She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah my son." And he never knew her again. And it came to be at the time of giving birth that, see, twins were in her womb. And it came to be when she was giving birth that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and bound it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." And it came to be, as he drew back his hand, that, see, his brother came out. And she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." So his name was Peretz, or Peretz. And afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand. So his name was called Zerath. Alright, we'll stop here for this time. I'd like to thank you all for joining me. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. As always, good luck, and God bless all of you.